Hey, this is Steve from Lifter Puller, and you're listening to the Hoodrat Recap podcast.
Ain't gonna be much for conversation if we go into the rest of this.
We got bored. So we started a podcast about the best bar band in the land, man. This is the Hoodrat Recap, and we are back. We're your steady stream of the unified scene, all the news and reviews of the band that you love, we love, and it's a Quizmaster episode today, people. Everybody, this is Stage Right Mike on the mic, and I can talk hold steady all night. And when I like to talk hold steady heavy, I throw up the rat signal. And just like that, the Hood Rat Pack has assembled. And hark, I can see him hang gliding in now in a neon lycra bodysuit. It's the unified scene's very own King of Queens, Gasper. Gasper, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. But you know what? I've been trying to get people to call me the valedictorian.
Why is that, Gasper?
Because I got the 4.0 in the speech in my back pocket.
Oof, how is that working out for you?
Not so good, man. Not so good at all. People keep calling me the academic probation.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I mean, it's for people that don't know, we've been recording since 8 a.m. Eastern, and that is what just hit my eardrums. Is this for real? This is not my real life. This is not my Sunday morning.
It's very hard to get these on topic, man. It is what it is.
I mean, you should just be in podcast jail. You don't deserve this accolades that these people bestow on you by listening to you give this junk.
And that's the sound of our producer and third mic. Kevin is whatever. Kevin, how you doing today?
I mean, I'm like the rest of the people listening to this podcast. I'm mortified. I am offended. I want to turn it off, but please don't turn it off because we got a great episode. We got a lot of great feedback on the last few episodes. The numbers have been increasing. We appreciate you checking it out. And this one is no different. This one is really great. We got a lot we're going to get into.
A lot.
All right, but before we do, we're going to hit a scene report.
Scene report.
So, yeah, man, I got to go to Jersey City.
I was supposed to go with you. I apologize to the scene that wanted me to go, but I had a tour kickoff that night, and I had to be in Pennsylvania. But we were not far from each other. We were like 80 miles apart.
But you totally bailed on me. But good contingent of the Unified Scene showing up. First got to mention, Kat from Vermont drove 7 hours to be at Jersey City. Now, in fairness, that was not the only reason she came. She was picking up, she was doing an animal rescue, actually. She was picking up, I believe, a cat that she's going to foster for a bit. But yeah, man, 7 hours from Vermont to Jersey City and made it basically just in time.
Wow.
Also out there was Allison, Lacey, Tom, Heidi, Garrett, Robin, Aaron, Peter, and John. So we had a pretty good group, and it was an interesting set, a little different than what we're used to. I think it wasn't so much the bangers, because a lot of those construction summer shows are like all bangers, and then, that you don't get a lot of like the rare stuff, but they did bring out the 3 new songs again. So you got Dream Down by the Water, Jupiter, and Malachi and Jessica. Got to hear the lyrics a little bit more, and it's just got me that much more hyped for the new record. I can't wait, man. And each one of those songs are so strong. So interesting night, and I don't want to dwell too much on it because we got a lot to get to. And we also have a scene report from Damon from Connecticut, who was kind enough to sit down with us for a bit and talk to us about the Boston Session Show, which is a festival show. So why don't we jump into his real quick? All right, we're hanging out with Damian Kimball from Connecticut. What's going on, man? How you been?
Not much. Good to be on the pod.
I don't think I've seen you since the Minnesota shows, right?
Saw you in Staten Island. I haven't seen Mike since Minnesota at Craig's solo show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Too many shows, guys.
Had my Nas Reed towel with me.
That's right.
That's what I remember from Minnesota. He had the Nas Reed, yeah.
He had brought the Nas Reed towel to the house show in Staten Island. Did you get a reaction from him on that, or did he say anything?
A little bit. So I caught Craig on the way out. When Craig, as you know, when Craig does his solo show, he's just kind of very narrowly focused in and closes his eyes a lot, doesn't look at the crowd a lot. So I didn't find a good time to hold it up. And I was in a corner where it was safe to do. So I just caught him on the way out and said, "Hey, here's the Minneapolis Nas Reed towel." That's cool. We talked about how crappy the Twins are.
So you went to the Boston, and I'm going to try to say it right, Saison Festival. Is that correct?
It is not. Well, it's correct that I went. The pronunciation is incorrect. I actually had to look it up after the fact because sometime during the show, someone said, "I have no idea how to pronounce this." So it's session.
Oh, okay.
To use a couple different Irish dialects have it, session or session. So session in America.
It's an interesting way to spell it. All right, so tell us a little bit about that. That was a few bands and stuff, right?
Yes, it was a 2-day festival. Dropkick Murphys was the headliner on Saturday, and the Remains of the Pogues were the headliner on Sunday. It's kind of the spiritual succession to the old FLA festival, once again spelled FLEADH, and I had to look up the pronunciation of that too. It's kind of like an old Irish Lollapalooza. I remember it from the 90s a little. There were 6 bands on Saturday, 3 of which I'd never heard of. Stiff Little Fingers, Hold Steady, and Dropkick Murphys were the ones that I knew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was up at Suffolk Downs outside of Boston. It's an old racetrack. It's just an OTB. So it's got, crappy parking lots and out in the middle of nowhere, and you're walking on the turf.
Sounds like a Hold Steady song location is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, there's a couple things that could end up being Hold Steady songs based off what happened that day. So it was, it's just on the outskirts of Boston. It was a 3-hour drive for me from the opposite side of Connecticut. So. So I skipped the first band. It wasn't particularly crowded. I mean, the weather might have had something to do with it, but also talking to some of the people around, like there were buy one get ones on tickets throughout the week.
Right.
And even during Rumjacks, the GA pit was 15% full.
Gotcha. A show like that. So like you're saying, the weather. Because I know there was like some pretty crazy storms that were coming through for that weekend, which I'm sure affected it. But also, do you think because it's a show where they're only going to play, I would imagine half hour to 40 minutes on a show like that, you think that affects it?
Well, from the scene, we don't know. Jersey City on Friday night didn't help the Boston from the scene standpoint, anyways. Literally, the only person that I saw there, other than the band, the only person that I talked to that I knew was Josh.
Okay.
I didn't see a single other person that I know. And I don't know as many people as you guys, but I know a fair amount.
So more Dropkick Murphys fans.
I was kind of expecting Kat and Beth to be down, but it sounds like they were Jersey City. And I only saw 2 other people with Hold Steady shirts on.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them was actually, he said it was the most recent Boston shows. I think the ones with Dinosaur Jr. And it was a Cheers logo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And later on, I saw another guy who had the 20th anniversary shirt on. Obviously, a lot of DKM gear, a few of the other bands that were playing, but just a lot of weird, out of the order. Like there was a guy wearing a Humphrey McGee's shirt on.
Okay.
Yeah, so which is very different than anything there, but it was just kind of cool to see the different things. So this was interesting enough. The first time I've ever worn a Hold Steady shirt to a Hold Steady show.
Oh,
I figure, them not being it being a festival, and especially them not being the headliner.
Yeah.
Going back to the old PCU, don't be that guy. I don't like. It's one of those.
You got to wear your colors during a festival, though. I kind of like that.
And I agree with that. It's like, who are you there for? Is absolutely
gotta support your team, man.
Especially for Hold Steady, who have a lot of unique shirts from different shows. All the city shirts and the things like that. So, hey, next time they're back in Minneapolis. Actually, I didn't buy any Minneapolis shirts. I bought a bunch of other stuff, but it's one of those you wear an old shirt from that city, I think is pretty cool. Or maybe even like one of the most recent events. So in Brooklyn last year, I saw quite a few Atlanta shirts. That Waffle House shirt is fantastic. And things like that. So I think we can be a little more free and loose with it, but generally speaking, I agree with Jeremy Piven.
Now, with so many other bands out there and the crowds being what they were, how does Hold Steady translate to a DKM fan base or some of the other bands that were out there? Like,
I was in for the Rumjacks. I had GA Pit and was, standing, 10 feet off the rail. Just could have gotten up to the rail if I'd wanted. At that point, I didn't see any Hold Steady fans up there. I had seen, I think, the Cheers shirt guy earlier out, but not inside at that point. When the Hold Steady did play, there were a handful of people I could see singing along, and most of them weren't because they don't know the lyrics, don't know the band all that well. But there were 2 or 3 people who I chatted with afterwards, and those guys were really cool. They really, and they had been in during things, so they probably picked up a couple fans along the way.
That's great. So it does translate well to the other genres. It's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a different console. And I think the set list had something to do with it too. Obviously, the festivals, you're going to play your greatest hits, which is, especially with the shortened set, it was all bangers.
I was going to ask you about that, Damon. It seemed like it was a short set list. It looked like they planned to play 15 songs, and then it looks like they scratched 6 songs, so they ended up playing 9.
Yeah, they scratched 6 out because of the shortened show.
So how did that play out? Did it feel truncated or?
Well, we got evacuated because of the weather. I was outside of the area for 3 hours. During the scratch was the third band, and they were playing, and PA came on and said, everybody has to leave, go through the exit, go out to the parking lot. Thankfully, they did that before the rains actually started. It took me 5+ minutes to get to my car. And I hung out for probably 15, 20 minutes before it started raining. And I got in my car for 20, 30 minutes. And then the rain let up, ended up in the parking lot for the band and the sound techs and the security guys. And just ended up talking to one of the security guys. Saying, hey, do you know what's going on? He's like, they're not telling us anything. It hadn't really been raining in a while, but there was concern about wind and possibly tornadoes. There had been lightning off in the distance, and that's all legit. Like, if you're going to have a tornado or lightning, I can get it. But so about 2.5 hours after we got kicked out, they're like, hey, Hold Steady's going to come on at 8:15. So originally they were supposed to play 7:15 to 8:15. They had posted the set times on one of the tents. I can't remember. Actually, I think it was on the merch tent. So we had an idea of whenever to play. And nobody played. Everyone was playing a 45-minute or an hour. So the first couple bands were playing 45 minutes, and Stiff Little Fingers and the Hold Steady, and even I think the Scratch were all scheduled to play an hour. And so 8:15, one of the security guys both of the security guys had mentioned there is a 10:30 hard stop, $20,000 a minute if you go past it.
Ooh. Oh wow!
So needless to say, that wasn't going to happen. So we're okay. So we're waiting in line to get back in. Everyone's okay. So if the Hold Steady plays this long, they probably have. Hopefully, they have everything kind of tightened up so they don't take half an hour to turn over the set. And we could, Hold Steady could play 45 and, maybe 5 minutes to turn over. And I think Dropkick was supposed to play an hour 45 originally. at 8:10, the line hasn't even started moving to get back in. But it did move quickly because almost everybody had their wristbands. We still had to go through security.
Right.
So it started at like 8:10, it started moving. I think I got through at 8:22. The band started up at 8:23. And I'm hearing stations like, oh, so I gotta start moving. They had actually pulled the security from the GA pit. They just let everybody in there, which makes a lot of sense for anybody who'd stuck around this long.
That's cool.
In some cases, I was talking to people who just, hey, the weather's crappy. We're really here to see Dropkick Murphys. And they came in late. They came in at like 8 o'clock so that they could get into the show. So they kicked into stations and they played the hits.
Yeah.
Which you're going to mostly get at a festival show. Like I was kind of guessing, hey, they're going to play half an hour. So I'm wondering if they're just going to take the Bourbon Beyond set, which is scheduled for half an hour this coming weekend, and just play that and create a new set for that. But looking at the physical set list when I got it, so they pulled out like first night. Is it Jupiter? Is one of the new songs?
Yeah, they pulled that out.
Hurricane J.
On with the business.
On with the business, yeah. So personally, I thought that was the best they could do. Hey, we've got 30, 35 minutes. We're just going to jam through the stuff that is going to get, punk fans excited. I mean, leaving first night in there and the length of Killer Parties just didn't work. So it was actually kind of cool not ending a show in Killer Parties.
Yeah, you ended with Stay Positive. What was that like?
That was fun. Is that the first time Josh has ever ended a show?
Interesting. That's a good point. I feel like they've ended Stay Positive before Killer Parties was the go-to, but Josh wasn't doing it back then. So I think that's probably the first time Josh ever ended a show. That is a good question.
We could have called him the closer that night.
We'll have to find out at Massive Nights.
I got a great video of him coming up. He was excited to see that and thought it was a good set. I think they made the right cuts. They just played all bangers and kept the crowd excited to, roll into Dropkick Murphys, which is what the majority of the people were there for.
And basically, this is like you weathered the storm for this show. So this is a kind of like a badge of honor show for Holt.
Yeah. So when I'm sitting out in the car waiting, it's like, okay, here are my options. I can drive home 3 hours. I can drive an hour to my cousin's place in Worcester where I'm staying that night anyways and hang out tonight and tomorrow instead of just tomorrow. Or I could wait it out and see what happens. I chose the last one and was rewarded.
Wow.
Nice.
However, during that time, if I had just dropped away, I wouldn't have fractured my ankle.
Oh, you fractured your ankle at this show?
I fractured my ankle at a Dropkick Murphys show. Sounds a lot cooler than, I stepped bad in the parking lot and rolled my ankle. Though actually, I do have a fracture in my ankle.
Oh.
It's tiny. It'll be fine.
You could do the old scene from Jaws with the the different scars from stuff. It's like, this is
from what
Hold Steady.
Yeah, what Hold Steady show you got your scar at? Yeah, I like that.
So speaking of things that happen that really you don't get a lot of scars at Hold Steady shows generally, but you also don't have mosh pits at Hold Steady shows, which you do at a Dropkick Murphys show, and probably all of them, but especially in Boston.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Dropkick Murphys in probably 15 years. And seeing them in Boston was about as cool as seeing the Hold Steady in Minneapolis.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I suppose.
So it's just one of those, Saturday in Minneapolis was the best concert I've ever seen. The vibes, the band, Dave Perner being there, just everything.
That show has just been released on Bandcamp. So I just listened to it yesterday, and it is amazing. You're right.
And what's great about their pit was it wasn't like right up front. It was like, hey, you had your like 10, 20 feet of people up at the rail, and then it was behind that. So it gave up a lot of space. So when Stay Positive finished, Craig said goodbye. They start clearing the stage. I look at my watch. It was 8:55. And they still actually ended up taking the full half hour to change the set over. So they started at Dropkick started at 9:25, and I'm thinking we're going to get an hour 5, which is better than 0. So it is something. But and partway towards the end, probably about 20 after 10, Kenny is up there saying, "It's like the city of Boston gave us an extra 15 minutes." So they actually were able to break curfew and play till 10:45. It was fun though, because actually jumping back to the Hold Steady set, one of the least confetti-filled shows I've ever seen.
I suppose, yeah.
Of a festival or a regular. I did not see anyone else handing out confetti.
Right. It's just not that kind of show, really, with between the audience and the weather.
So actually, during the line to get back in, I'm standing with the 2 other Hold Steady shirts I'd seen, and I had 3 bags of confetti. I had 2 little Ziplocs as my stash in case they pulled my big bag, which was like a half a gallon Ziploc or something. And they were like, "Yeah, whatever." And so I'd given away the 2 little ones to the people that I wasn't going to be, so they had some. And all during the Hold Steady show, I'm just kind of looking around and it's like, okay, who's singing? Who am I going to hand stuff to when the time is right? And so I still didn't even hand it all out. There were probably 10 people I handed it to. And we had a small little contingent, and it was fun. It's always... And the lights, because I remember at Positive Jam, the lighting was a little dark in the crowd. So, and I was actually, I worked stage for that show. So I saw it from that angle, and you could see it go up, but it doesn't have that same effect. Here, there were enough lights that you could definitely see it go up, even though there wasn't a lot. Right. It still made it impressive.
So was it just enough confetti to confuse the hell out of the Dropkick Murphy fans? They're like, "What is this?"
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think there were any bewildered looks, and they're like, "Okay, this is what they do." Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the scene report.
Yeah,
man.
it was
this
awesome.
was really cool. And we're going to see you at Massive Nights, right? You're coming to Massive Nights this year?
Yeah, I am only going Friday night this year, I think. Probably just drive down, drive back. Most
Good
likely.
night.
So
okay.
That'll be a good night.
We'll definitely see you there.
Yeah, is there there's a Craig solo show between now and then, isn't there?
November. Yeah, La Poison Rouge.
Okay.
He's playing in November.
Outside shot, I go to that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, it'll be Friday in Brooklyn.
All right. See you there.
Sounds good. We'll see you there, man.
All right.
Cool.
All right. See you guys soon.
We are our only saviors. We're gonna build something this summer.
Wow. I'd like to thank Damon for that scene report there. We learned a lot, and I think that's the second rain delay we've talked about in the history of this podcast here. I think Buddy had one like 3-4 years ago, and I think that's the only second rain delay, so that was really interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, but we got to get into it. We got the man here himself, Martin, all the way from the UK. He's got some interesting news. He's got some big things coming up. So should we get into it?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
All right. Well, we are back hanging out with Quizmaster Martin Fitzgerald. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well, Gasper. How are you?
It's been a while since we've had you.
Last time I saw you was in Minneapolis. You and Mike were poking your heads through a cardboard cutout of 2 women in various states of undress, and your heads had replaced theirs. So it's good to see you're not still there. And you're out of it.
I barely remember that.
It's a guy holding a mermaid, and I am the mermaid in that picture. I have that on my phone. It's like one of my wallpapers.
We might have to make that the title card for this episode, since Martin just kind of led. With that, I think for everybody listening at home, everybody's going to want to see this beautiful photo of you. And this is why I don't travel with
It's
you.
imprinted on my memory. But that was the last time I saw you both. But I've been listening, and you're doing such a good job with this podcast. And I loved the episode, as everybody did. I think the episode with Dave and Steve. What a great episode that was.
Thank you. That's
that was. I think we easily said that was one of our favorites, and just getting a peek into the workings of the Hold Steady from Dave, and especially, their very unique business model. Did I see that you just went to Oasis in London?
I did not. No, I'm not a huge Oasis fan.
Oh, I felt like the world was at that show in London, including people from the States, and I was just like, you see what they're doing, and you just see like the Hold Steady, and it's a very interesting, dichotomy of how the business model works, but it works so well for the Hold Steady. Yeah. And I think I said to Dave on the show, I don't know any other band that really does it like that. Like it's a very unique business model that they find massive success.
And I just think in terms of, it isn't just the fact that they do these weekenders, but the fact that they make changes to the set on a regular basis. So I think those Oasis shows, and I don't know how many there's been so far, but I think it's been the same set in the same order every single night.
Right.
And that, one of the things that we love about going to see the Hold Steady is when you get a surprise, is that you don't know what's coming next. And of course, they're a kind of 90s band, so I guess it's kind of the way they used to do it. But you can just go on Setlist FM now, or just go on Instagram and see that set. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone I know that's been to those gigs has had the time of their life. But, we all know what it's like when you get that little surprise song and you think, oh my God, was at Massive Nights last year, and I think for the first time played $40. There's people in that crowd crying.
Yeah. I was one of them.
Jasper was one of them. We stood next to him while that happened, and we actually have talked about how he shed a tear with the $40 and the way they delivered it, and the surprise of having it come out of the manila envelope. Like, it was just a very well done thing, and it's a great point, Martin, about the Hold Steady, is that the set changes nightly, aside from basically Killer Parties, which has become the set closer. But it hasn't always been either. Like, that wasn't always the closer. That is like something that's come over time, as we've discussed on the show, but nobody does it like they do, except maybe Pearl Jam. And even Pearl Jam, they've lately gotten, as people get dependent on production, sometimes the show it morphs a little bit and it becomes set in its ways. But, the Hold Steady, you don't know what you're going to get from night to night.
So you're coming back to New York this year for Massive Nights, right?
I'm coming to New York via Dallas. So I'm going to Dallas for a week or so. I'm going to go see Craig and Patterson Hood on the 21st of November in a little suburb called Oak Cliff, which is in Dallas, where some famous people once lived. A little teaser there. And then I'm going to be driven to Dallas.
In a convertible?
Sorry, I'm going to be driven to New York from Dallas.
That's a pretty long ride, actually, isn't it?
Yes. It's a very
when I say I'm being driven.
Is Craig your Uber driver?
Craig is not my Uber driver, no. The woman who's driving me to Dallas was, and this I guess will lead on to another subject, she was in Dealey Plaza during the assassination of Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
She was 11 years old. And so she's a good friend of mine. I've become good friends with her. And I'm in Dallas to interview her on, which is obviously the anniversary of the assassination. And we're going to a thing at the Texas School Depository on the 22nd. And then after that, she lives in Scranton, Philadelphia. She's going to drive back there, and she's going to drop me and Katie off in New York. So it's going to take like 3 days or something.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Fun. And then we get to beautiful New York and Massive Nights, which I'm hugely looking forward to. I made my debut there last year. I still can't get over the fact that there are just people bowling.
I don't think you ever get used to that.
And they're not they're not fans of the band, are they? They're people that have just bought bowling tickets.
It depends. Like, so you could take over the lane and bowl prior to the show just so you have a place to sit at point during the set. But yeah, there's definitely people who go there who have no idea who the Hold Steady are, and they're bowling, and so they're in the middle of a set, you'll hear strike.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's funny because every now and then there'll be a lull or in between songs, and like if you're close enough to the rail, you'll hear the pins get knocked down. I'm just like, oh, that guy hit a good one.
I remember the first time because they used to play Music Hall of Williamsburg as like that was kind of the more hometown venue, and they moved it to Brooklyn Bowl when they started doing the residencies. And I remember that first show where it was like you heard the pins being knocked down, and like Tad just kind of looked over like, what the hell is going on?
I just found it. I've never seen that in a venue where you've got a room where the band are playing and the fans of the band are there having a good time, and then you've got a leisure activity on the side, which feels like it should be annexed somewhere. But it's not, and I don't understand it. I think it's probably cool, but I don't really get it.
I think in Peter Shapiro's book, he talks about how when they were building the venue, he got a lot of pushback from that, where it's like, you can't have bowling next to where the concert is. And no, we can.
There'd be certain artists, certain kind of acoustic artists, where I guess that just wouldn't work. But I found it quite distracting, but probably in a good way. But I loved it last year. I loved it so much. Very different crowd dynamics in the US compared to the UK. And I really noticed that in Minneapolis this year as well. That
how so? What's the difference?
People have a spot in the US, it seems. And that's their, and you're not allowed to like move in front of them. I got into almighty trouble with two women in Minneapolis because I wanted to move in front of them, and they were like, "Well, you should have got here earlier." And I'm like, "I didn't know that. I didn't know there were rules of engagement. I don't know how this works." Because in the UK, it's a complete free for all. You can turn up halfway through the gig and just get to the.
Howard follows the UK rules, that's for sure.
I was going to say, I think that's where Howard gets how Howard is. Yeah. He just goes where he wants to go.
And it becomes like it becomes a kind of organic thing, the crowd, that it moves and it swells, and you lose your place and you lose your friends, and then you find them again. And whereas in the US, it was different. It was, you could stand in the same place all night and you would not move. And I'm kind of talking about the front third of the venue. I'm not talking about the people at the back having a beer. I'm talking about you could be like 5 from the front. So I understand that now, and if those two women are coming to New York, then I'll try and get there before you and just deal with it.
You'll get there before, that's all.
There's definitely advantages to the way you guys do it too, because like if you're in that front third, like you're not going to the bathroom, you're not going to get another beer. You're right. In England, it was like I could pop out and then pop back in.
Yeah, it's just a different diet. So I think the way it works in the UK is that I mean, it isn't really about whether you like the band more or not. In the UK, there's more of I wouldn't say it's performative, but you're not just standing there watching the band. And particularly at certain bands, there's like a huge mosh pit, and it's really heavy. I remember gigs when I was younger, you just come out covered in bruises, and there obviously would have been kind of gigs like that in the US, because I've seen footage of gigs like that in the US from various hardcore bands, etc., etc. But yeah, it's a very different crowd dynamic, and I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong. I'm just saying it would be good if people at the airport could be given like a list of do's and don'ts.
Right, those rules. Yeah. I'm very excited for the Wednesday night dynamic where they add seats, because as this guy who's always looking to sit down at the Hold Steady show because I'm tired of getting bulldozed by the people, I'm looking forward to the Wednesday seated show at the Brooklyn Bowl. And that might be a whole different dynamic too.
So they did a seated show in Minneapolis, and they did some in London actually, and it was cool. The seating show at a kind of rock gig brings a different level of stress to me, because I remember going to see David Byrne once in a concert hall, and like halfway through the first song, this guy at the front just got up and started dancing, and he turned around to everyone and said, "Come on, up." So then everyone had to stand up, but in very tightly packed rows of seats. And it kind of went on like that for like, so I sometimes, I think if you're going to have a seated show, you've got to respect the fact it's a seated show. And I think that should be part of the Homeland Security message when people come in.
I've always, I've always said, look, if everyone around you is seating and you're the one guy standing, you paid the same price as a ticket as I did. And if that's how you want to enjoy the show, you should. And generally, the one person does make the whole section get up, and sometimes it's an inconvenience, but I can understand it because everybody wants to experience those moments their own way. Now, I'm hoping I get the section where everybody around me wants to sit, and I just get a clear bird's eye view of the band from my seat.
Well, in the whole steady shows that have been seated so far, everyone does sit because it's a very different type of show. So it's very stripped back. Even the band sit, actually. Yeah. Apart from Craig, but like Steve sits and Tad sits, and it's not the sort of, like, they don't launch into Hoodrat and everyone gets up.
Right.
It's a different type of show, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I can't wait.
And you'll be doing the quiz this year again at Massive Nights. Right?
I'll be doing the quiz again this year at Massive Nights. It'll be my third quiz this year. I've now done 6, and there's been 6 different winners from the band, which is nice. Right. And so now there's a chance for someone. I know there are other quizzes, other people do other quizzes, but this is like there are other governing bodies in boxing. You know.
Right.
This is a W.
So we're gonna scrub those other wins, because as far as it goes by Martin,
you get an asterisk.
It's an all-out.
You get an asterisk.
Non-sanctioned,
Yeah. The other ones, like there could be some dope charges impending or something like that. There's an asterisk.
Just because they won a street fight doesn't mean they get a belt.
I was going to say, if there's a belt, only the Martin quizzes would have to.
I'm only joking. I'm sure the other quizzes are fantastic, but this is my 7th, and I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. I'd love to get, and maybe we'll say I have some friends where we could get you one. We'll get like a WWE style wrestling championship belt, but we'll say hold steady quiz champion, and then they get to pass it around based on who wins. And they get to hold the belt just like until you do the next quiz. And that's how, kind of like a fantasy football trophy. Right. They just hold it until the next time.
Well, we did interview Steve when he won it in Minneapolis. I think the word interview is doing some heavy lifting there. I did bring him up and ask him what he thought about it. And, you know, he sort of played the role of an Oscar-winning actor. And he thanked everyone, and he said it was the proudest moment of his life. So.
Awesome.
Now, do we have a location yet for this year's? Do we know the location for
I don't, because I'm always the last to know everything, but I imagine it's that bar where it was last year.
Talia's?
Yeah, Talia. The brewery. Yeah, that was a good space, too. That worked out pretty nice.
The people there were lovely.
It was close by to the venue.
The people there were lovely.
And what day is it this year? Is it Friday?
I'm supposed to know that.
Thursday.
I know Wednesday's the seated show, Thursday's the quiz.
Friday, because Friday sound checks. That makes sense. So it would be Thursday. All right.
I'm going to try and crash that if I'm
in come along.
So we should get into a little bit. You're going to Dallas first because you're working on a project. Some of us in the unified scene are aware, but why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on?
So I'm writing a book about the JFK assassination. But before everybody switches off, it's not what you think. So I don't have any crazy theories. I'm a don't know guy. So I've studied this for 40 years. Been to Dallas a lot of times, met a lot of people that are in Dealey Plaza. I'm not interested in arguments. I'm interested in stories, and there's lots of stories connected with the people that were in Dealey Plaza that day, which have always fascinated me. And they've kind of been lost in this subject because everyone's just arguing with people about who did it or about who didn't do it. And I don't care about that. I don't care about that because I don't think I'll ever really know that. But I'm not also on a search for the truth because I don't know if any of you guys watch Game of Thrones. Okay, so I think we all enjoyed that show a lot more before that kid got on the throne at the end. So I think the first 71 episodes were better than the whodunit or the reveal at the end. So I think sometimes there's a joy in the speculation. I think this is such a rich subject that it's a riddle that's best unsolved. And my own particular theory on it, my own kind of take is, if you look at Dallas on the 22nd of November 1963, the main event that day was supposed to be in the appropriately named Main Street. That's where everybody was. And if you look at the footage, the crowds on the sidewalk, see, I'm even talking American because I'm writing, we would say pavement in the UK, but the crowds on the sidewalk, they're like 50 deep. And there's people looking out of windows through ticker tape trying to get a glimpse of Kennedy on the street below. All the professional broadcasters are in Main Street, ABC, CBS, the local Dallas stations. That's the main event. That's where everybody went. A couple of blocks away, though, in Dealey Plaza, it's entirely different. The crowd's one deep at that. There are no professional broadcasters at all. There's a dressmaker standing on a 4-foot wall called Abraham Zapruder, who left his camera home that morning. And he had to be talked into going home to get it. To his left, there's a guy that puts up an umbrella, but it's not raining. And he puts up and as soon as he puts up the umbrella, Kennedy gets shot. To his left, there's a construction worker in a hard hat sitting on a wall. And he's going to look up and he's going to see something which will become the official story. And so on and so on. There's all of the entirety of human nature is in Dealey Plaza. So my theory is, and what I've always wondered about, is if like Main Street was the party, then Dealey Plaza's like the kitchen. And we all know there's a famous song in the UK called "You'll Always Find Me in a Kitchen at Parties," which is about a certain type of person that just hangs out in the kitchen at parties. So all of these people deliberately opted out of the main event. And I think that's a personality trait. So then what happens if a group of people who have made a decision to opt out of the main event that day become part of the most studied 6 seconds in the history of the 20th century? And what impact did it have on those people? But also what impact did those people have on the assassination? So where would we be without Abraham Zapruder's film of the assassination, for example? And Kevin, you mentioned Oasis earlier. And I think the reason why I'm so fascinated with this subject is because I know I wouldn't have gone to Main Street that day. And if someone offered me a ticket for Oasis, I probably wouldn't have gone because I don't like those huge events. So I kind of liken it sometimes to, let's say there was a festival somewhere and the Killers are playing the main stage or Oasis and a huge throng of people are going that way. But there may be us four and some other people that we know are headed off to a smaller stage somewhere to go see the Hold Steady. So I'm not saying that the people in Dealey Plaza are like the unified scene, but you can imagine a scenario where if something happened in those circumstances, people would really zoom in and focus on who we all were. They'd look at Mike and say, why is he barefoot? Why has Mike got nothing on his feet? What does that mean?
We often ask that question.
We say that all the time.
Yeah.
So we agree.
They
with
say,
Steve.
what does that mean?
We know.
Is it a symbol? Is he part of something? And they'll go, there's some people over there with T-shirts on that say woo. What does woo mean?
Right.
So it's a book about the perils of over-research. And it's a book about just trying to look through that event through a modern lens. So trying to understand the part that race played in Dealey Plaza. And about how lots of African-American witnesses got asked different questions to all the white witnesses in Dealey Plaza, which was namely, if you've been in trouble with the law before. They were all asked that question. There's loads of African-American witnesses that never came forward. To this day, we don't know who they are. People think that's suspicious, but I don't think it's suspicious at all, because Dallas was the most right-wing city in America at that time. Martin Luther King, when he came to visit in 1962, they threatened to bomb any venue which he spoke at. So it's about all of this and more. It's not about who did it and about who didn't do it. It's about the stories of these people. And it's called The Umbrella Man and Other Stories, because the first story is about the Umbrella Man, about this guy that opens up an umbrella. He's the only person in Dealey Plaza with an open umbrella, and it's not raining.
Right.
And then someone shoots the president. And it's about the speculation that went into that, about the ultimate reveal of why he did that, what that says about us, what it says about us when if we zoom into something too much, do we kind of lose focus? I know that's a very long answer, Gasper, but that's kind of what the book's about.
No, that was great.
It's great. I mean, honestly, it's so interesting because, I mean, we all know the thing, but those little minutia and those facts to those people are so interesting. I was just going to ask, like, do we know the name of the person with the umbrella, or is he just called the Umbrella Man? And so, like, you know, I'll have to read the book, I imagine, but does anybody talk to him? Do we get an account from him as to what he was doing there? I mean, I think a lot of us know the Oliver Stone film because it was such a mainstream, like it was a cultural thing when that movie came out because of the subject matter, because the length. I remember when everybody harped on how long that movie was. And I remember watching it and going, it blew by. I was into it. Like the whole, and you know, that's good storytelling by Stone and whoever wrote that particular picture. But like you said, you didn't come away with really the answers. You kind of came away with more speculation. And
I mean, it's an interesting, I mean, just in regard to the Stone film, I think it's the best edited film I've ever seen, because it does fly by. Like it's 3 hours 15, 3 hours 20. And the way it mixes historical footage with reenactment. It's a piece of filmmaking. It's incredible. As a comment on what happened in Dallas on the 22nd of November 1963, it's deeply flawed. There's a lot wrong with it.
It's Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's I always see it as it's a very good sales pitch on, you know, why someone thinks that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it. And it had a huge effect on the assassination. There's so many researchers today that when you ask them, what was the thing that got you into this subject, they pretty much always point to that film. And it had a huge impact on the assassination in the sense of there were lots of documents that got released after that. So one of the stories in the book is a story called Tramps Like Us, which is about these 3 hobos that got arrested in Dealey Plaza an hour after the assassination. They were hiding in a boxcar just behind the Texas School Book Depository. And there's pictures of them coming. They're kind of being marched through Dealey Plaza with shotgun-wielding policemen by their side. And, you know, no one saw these photos for a couple of years, and then a researcher, you know, came across some unpublished press photos. And he's like, well, who are these guys? And they don't even look like tramps. So then they went to the Dallas police to find their identity through looking at their arrest records. And the arrest records had vanished. So they couldn't find out who these tramps were. And it went on so they become part of the sort of folklore of the case. And if you watch Oliver Stone's JFK, the tramps are featured in it heavily as these ominous characters who were stalking Dealey Plaza. And they're not even implicated as low-level conspirators. They've got rifles in their hands. They're behind the picket fence on the grassy knoll. They're on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. But because of Stone's film, various documents got released. And finally, the documents got released which exonerated the tramps because their original arrest records were found. Huh. But in between that time, it was, nearly 30 years of speculation, people turning up on the Tonight Show. Do you know that guy, A.J. Weberman, the huge Dylan nut? He invented the term Dylanology. We were talking about Dylan earlier. He got involved. Huh. And he said two of the tramps were two of the Watergate, burglars. And also Woody Harrelson's father came forward, the actor Woody Harrelson. His father came forward and admitted that he was one of the tramps. But he wasn't. So it's every single part of human nature is encapsulated within those 6 seconds. And because of that, I find it fascinating. And I very much stick to, what happened on the day, what impact it had on people, the role that the police played. And then midway through the book, I then go to Dallas where I, meet some witnesses and I do a little bit of a kind of travelogue around the city. It's a city that fascinates me and it's had an interesting history.
Well, it's an awesome concept for a book, and I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think I've ever heard that take before, so very cool.
I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just curious. Does anybody give you a reason why they chose Dealey Plaza over Main Street? Was it just
bottleneck?
Is it like when you go to, a parade and you don't go to where the parade ends and everybody kind of posts up with the grandstands? You kind of do 12
so
blocks away.
if you read the testimony of some of the people who were in Dealey Plaza and you feature in the book, they all pretty much say the same thing, which was they just couldn't be bothered with Main Street, and and that's what I would be. That's what I would be like.
Those are my people.
Yeah, like I can't be bothered with Oasis at like Wembley Stadium. It would just be too much for me. I'm just that. I'm not that sort of person. So in the case of the Umbrella Man, he worked in Main Street and he walked block after block after block with his umbrella, and at every opportunity he said, not here, not here, not here, because he knows he's going to do this thing with an umbrella. He knows he's going to do it, right? No. And he turns up in Dealey Plaza. On his right is a mound of grass, which is awaiting a catchier name, which will become known as the Grassy Knoll. On his left is the Texas School Book Depository. And he stands in the middle of these two things and he thinks, here, no one's going to notice me here. Because he didn't want to draw attention to himself. And of course, what ends up happening is, he hit his peak, the Umbrella Man, when John Updike, the author, was writing about him every week in the New Yorker. He would use his Talk of the Town column to go, what was this guy doing? Who was he? What does it mean? Because it's such a nonsensical... This is a book where you don't need to know about Kennedy's foreign policy, about, ballistics or autopsy, sort of records. The real beauty of the Umbrella Man is it's like a gateway drug into the assassination, because there's a guy with an open umbrella and it's not raining. And that doesn't make sense. The image doesn't make sense. So then we have to try and explain that, because he just went back to work. He's not mentioned in 16,000 pages of the official investigation. So then we have to find out who he was. And of course, none of us guessed the truth. So when he finally tells the truth, people are like, what? So that's all you need is a curious mind.
I'm going to say this for all the listeners. As great as it is, the mystery is so much better in your accent.
Yeah.
As you tell it to me, I can see why these people want you to read to them, because I'm like, give me the book now. I'm ready. I clear my schedule, move whatever I'm reading. I need to know about the Umbrella Man.
Kevin is hard selling this audiobook read by Martin.
Getting back to like Main Street and Dealey Plaza, like if you want to put it into Hold Steady terms, everybody in the front third, that's the Main Street people. And me, I'm the Dealey Plaza in the back. That's it.
Kevin's too punk rock to be up in the front.
One of the chapters is about, there is a woman in Dealey Plaza who she's captured in a Zapruder film. And it's almost like she's dressed to defy description. She's got a headscarf on. She's got sunglasses. She's got a 3/4 length coat. She's almost dressed like nobody wants to know who she is, right? And that woman never, ever came forward. She's one of the nearest people to Kennedy during the headshot. She never came forward. And in the 70s, a woman who was much, much younger than this woman looks came forward and pretended to be her. And, to my mind, she's the opposite of the theory. She's someone that was in Main Street. She thought she went to the main show and the big party. And then the most consequential thing that happened in the 20th century happened in her town, but a couple of blocks away where just some losers saw it, who couldn't even be bothered to come to Main Street. So then she perhaps thinks, if only there was a way I could put myself into this story. If only there was a witness which had a headscarf on and sunglasses and a 3/4 length trench coat. So that's the book.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I didn't know over in the UK it was such a big story as it is here. And
I'm not sure it is. I mean, there is a conference in the UK, and I go to the conference in the book. It's there are parallels there between being at a Hold Steady weekender, because the book's really about being a nerd. It's about. And I don't mean any offence to any fans of the band, but it's about having an obsession with something. It's about meeting other people who share that obsession, whether that's at conferences or whether that's at concerts. It's the same. It's a similar thing. And I met so many people at this conference, which was in Birmingham this year, and they all said exactly the same thing. The reason why they come to this is because when they mention it to their friends in the pub, they just roll their eyes. So they wanted to meet other people that shared the same thing. So it's about having an obsession with a subject, which I think Hold Steady fans will understand.
The one thing I'm curious is, how do you find these people? Like, what is the methodology?
Do you mean the people that were there that day?
Yeah, the subjects that you've gotten their stories, or is it a family member? Like, how do those names even come to you? I know said you've been obsessed with this for 40 years, but when you decide, I'm going to write this book and this is going to be the subject, I'm going to go interview or talk to some of these people.
I mean, I would say the internet has helped hugely in terms of tracking down people. But I've also tried to steer clear of like a huge amount of sort of interviews, because then the book really does just become a series of interviews with people that were in Dealey Plaza. And a lot of those people have passed away, right? There's not many people left. Right. So, my friend Tony, who was 11 at the time, she's 73 now. But there's so much documentation out there, and the sort of stories are partly about these people, but they're also really about the way we treated those people, the way we didn't give them any benefit of the doubt, the way that we looked at people and assumed that they must be doing something nefarious. It actually says more about us than it does about some of those people. There's a really good Hold Steady story, actually. There is a Hold Steady sort of chapter in the book So it's like a mini chapter, and Gasper and Mike, you're mentioned in it.
All right.
So I'll quickly set that story up. So I was outside the Fine Line in Minneapolis this year, waiting for the Whole Steady to do their storytellers set. And the doors hadn't opened. We were in a queue. And in front of me in the queue was a guy called Dallas, who I'm sure you all know, Dallas Dunaway. Sunglasses, ZZ Top beard, baseball cap. Again, looks like he's dressed to defy. There's another guy underneath all that, which I wouldn't even recognise, right? Right. And I bumped into Dallas the Weekender in London. I bumped into him in Massive Nights, but I never really had a chance to talk to Dallas. So we're in this queue, it's not moving, and we strike up a conversation. And I say to Dallas, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Dallas." And I was like, well, "Hang on, you're cool. Your name's Dallas." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." It's a kind of weird thing where I thought he was going to introduce me to his girlfriend, who was called, I don't know, Arizona. And I said, that's weird. I said, "I'm going to Dallas next week." And he said, well, how come? And I said, "Well, because I'm doing this book about the assassination. I'm going to meet some people, do a little travelogue thing." And he said, "Cool, we should meet up, have some food." He said, "There's a bar called Lee Harvey's." And I was like, "What is a bar called Lee Harvey's?" He's like, "Yeah." It's really cool. So I'm thinking, this is weird. And then the doors open, the queue shuffles forward. We get to the front, and Dallas turns round, and he says, "This trip you're going on, there's someone I know that might be able to help you out." And I said, "What, who do you know?" And he said, "My friend John, he's the archivist of the city of Dallas." And I'm like, "Okay, that sounds cool. What is, I don't really know what that means. What does he do? What's he got?" And Dallas looked over his glasses at me, looked me in the eye, and he said, "Martin, he's got a vault." And I said, "Okay, what's in the vault, Dallas?" And he said, "The kind of stuff you need to keep in a vault."
Wow.
And then Dallas sent him a message. And before we walked into the venue, he said, "Okay, it's all set up. We'll meet you next Monday." And so that mini chapter, and that, as you know, that night ends up in a tiki bar, and just reflecting on how there is a parallel, I think, between those two communities. But also, what I love about the assassination is there's so many twists and turns. There's so many things that you wouldn't think is possible. And this was just another one. I'd met Dallas so many times, but only on this day, because he's in front of me, did we have that conversation, because I was going to Dallas next week. And then he knew a guy that had a vault. And then a week later, I met that guy, and oh my God, the things he showed me in that vault were insane. So the next chapter is called The Vault, and it's all about that.
I remember you guys having that conversation. I'm like, what are those guys talking about over there? We're at the tiki bar, and I was like, what are they talking about?
Yeah. One of the things that I remember about that tiki bar is how there was maybe 12 of us, and, I'm from London, Mike, you're from Minneapolis, Gasper, you're from New York. There were Brandy and Stacey from somewhere in Canada. There was Jess from Oxford. There was Dallas from Dallas. Yep. There was Percy from Chicago. There was Kevin from, I think, also Chicago. The only person who was there in the town where the shows were happening was Mike. So this thing had brought together all of these people, which is kind of like a JFK assassination conference. But instead of talking about bullet trajectories and the potential failings of the Dallas police force, we're talking about, well, what's your favourite last song on the albums? And if you had to trust one of the bands to look after your cat, who would it be? So it's a different obsession, but on that day, those two obsessions overlapped.
All right. Why don't we say the name of the book one more time? It's the Man with the Umbrella and Other Stories.
The book is called The Umbrella Man and Other Stories, and the subtitle is What We Talk About When We Talk About the JFK Assassination.
And it'll be available April 2026.
It'll be available in April next year. If anyone follows me on Instagram or Blue Sky or Facebook, I can assure you I will be mentioning it a lot. I think it's very good. I'm genuinely very proud of it.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. That's going to be great.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
The reason we all know you, though, as the Quizmaster extraordinaire, because bringing it back to the Hold Steady. So I know you have questions for us. I will say I'm at a disadvantage. My brain is not awake yet. So I have floated through.
I'm going to use
7 a.m. where I'm
excuse.
at. You guys are. It's 8 a.m. with you guys.
When we go 0 for 6 and everybody who's part of the scene goes, these guys are dopes, just know I'm only on 1 cup of coffee.
Yeah, so anyone listening to this, this was recorded at 1 p.m. UK time, which because you've fought 2 wars to have 7 different time zones or whatever it is you have. I don't know what time it is over there.
Yeah, it's 8. We started at 8:00 for me and Kevin, and 7 for Mike. I think
7 for Mike.
Yes,
Mike's probably run a half marathon barefoot though. So
he actually has.
Anyway, I've got 6 questions. So these questions were asked as part of the London Weekender this year, which none of you were at. So I feel I can ask them. So question number 1. Which one of these first-generation rock and rollers wasn't born in the 1920s? So which one wasn't born in the 20s? Was it Bill Haley, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, or Fats Domino?
Buddy Holly, I think, was because he was 27 when he died in 59, right? Or wait.
Well, that math would actually go the other way then.
Yeah. Or did he die in 57? I forget. But
so it's Bill Haley.
Or no, he died in the 60s.
No, I forgot the listener. No, I haven't. It's Bill Haley, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, or Fats Domino. Which of those wasn't born in the 1920s?
What wasn't born in the 20s?
Wasn't born in the 20s.
I'm going to guess Buddy Holly. But that's just a guess. But let the other guys.
I don't have a guess, so I will back that.
I think he was, but okay. Well, so I think it might be Fats Domino. But
all right, so you can have your
okay.
own.
I'm going Fats Domino.
You might as well just pick your own, Gap. We'll keep a little running.
I'm going to go Bill Haley because I'm not even really sure who that is.
Oh, geez.
Bill Haley in the comments?
The first rock and roll song ever?
Oh, my God. Craig, do us a favor on the next record. Would you write a song with Bill Haley?
And then I would know who he was.
To look him up?
So that is, if we're awarding points, that's 1 point to Kevin. Because Buddy Holly was born in, I think it's 1936. 1936. Died in 1959, 23 years old.
Damn.
I knew he was super young when he died. And I just kind of figured.
I went to his crash site.
You're in the right area, Mike. Your logic was good, but then you questioned.
See, and I just went last summer. I just went to the museum and I went to his crash site. I should have known that. Yeah.
I was going to say, you should have known.
Yeah.
Question number 2, which I think is quite an easy one. Which Metallica album shares the same name as a courtroom drama from the 1970s starring Al Pacino?
Ooh, I got this one. And Justice for All.
And Justice for All is the correct answer.
Yep.
was going to say Dog Day Afternoon. That's what I know.
No, I knew it was Injustice for All. I didn't I couldn't lock in my answer.
Okay, this one sounds like it's going to be a team effort, but let me just.
If somebody could find the bass playing on Injustice for All, because it's.
Let me just calibrate the question first. Have you all seen the Blues Brothers?
Yes.
At one point, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Kevin, you sound like you've seen it.
Yeah.
I've even read the comic
Okay,
book.
so I just needed that to calibrate the question. So other than Jake and Elwood, there are 8 members of the Blues Brothers band. Can you name 4 of them?
God.
Or any?
Oh, God.
We need Spunky Comstock would know all of this. It's his favorite movie.
I think Steve.
Well,
I think Steve Selvage did pretty well with this one.
Oh, wow.
Like I think he.
They're all like session. They're session guys. They're not actors, so it's like.
Correct. Okay, this doesn't sound like that this is not going to be fun.
No.
You know what? I could see the band too,
Yeah.
but like I can't remember.
Okay, so you've got Steve Cropper and Donald Dunn, who were famous sax musicians. Matt Guitar Murphy, Lou Marini, Tom Bones Malone, Murph Dunn, Mr. Fabulous, and Willie Too Big Hall.
Okay, I didn't stand a shot at that one.
I think in the UK I asked for 5.
Oh, wow.
But remember, there's teams of like...
And somebody got
there's
that?
teams of like...
And they got...
11 people on them.
Right.
Yeah, because those teams are smarter than the Hoodrat Recap.
I'm telling you, there's a hive mind situation that happens. And
That's what I mean.
This next question was... it was from a round where I was celebrating the 10th anniversary of the album club that I used to do, which spawned my album club book. Okay, so this was about albums that I wrote about in that book. And the question was, which album was I writing about here? When I said, I listened to the opening track 5 times on the spin. By the time I'd finished, 15 Kennedys had died.
Oh. That's...
Oh.
So it's...
We didn't start the fire?
No, that's a Hold Steady record. 100% it's a Hold Steady record. I'm just trying to remember if it's Almost Killed Me or Separation Sunday.
By the time I'd finished...
It's Almost Killed Me.
Oh.
It's Almost Killed Me. It's because he's listening to Positive Jam.
Positive Jam, yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer. So the answer is Almost Killed Me because 3 Kennedys died in that song and I listened to it 5 times on the chart. So 15 Kennedys had died. I think... I heard a whisper from someone on his team that Craig struggled with that question. And then perhaps... and then... But,
it's good to know we got one that Craig wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I think it might have been in the way that I asked it. Because from what I understand, someone who will remain nameless, hi Hurricane Jess, said it's almost killed me. It's Positive Jam. And I think she had to talk him into it. I think
that's awesome.
I always take a back seat when it comes to that stuff.
Good job, Jess. Shout out to Jess.
Okay, here's we've got 2 more. This was in the 20th anniversary of Separation Sunday round, so it was things that happened in 2005. Which PlayStation game was first released in 2005 and would go on to increase the sales of artists who had their songs featured in the game?
Oh, would it be Tony Hawk?
Yep, it's Tony Hawk, Pro Skater.
Because he had the Hold Steady was in Tony Hawk. A lot of people found them from. Yeah.
That's how Jess got into the Hold Steady, actually, listening.
Yep.
That's true.
But that's not the right answer.
That soundtrack is not.
Oh, wow.
The right answer is Guitar Hero.
Oh. Yeah, because that would be... I think Tony Hawk was before that, yeah.
That it actually, you know what Pro Skater was, but for PlayStation, it would make sense that it was Guitar Hero because you had that stupid cable that plugged in.
And then the final question, I was really proud of this question, but it's hard, and it might be really hard to Americans. but I'm going to ask it anyway, because if you do get it, then it's the one guy got this straight away in the UK, and I'm telling you, it was the best moment of his life. And he said that in front of his son, who was there. The question is, what links the following 4 films? Flesh by Andy Warhol, the Vietnam War documentary The Year of the Pig, the French film L'Insoumis starring Alain Delon, and East of Eden by Elia Kazan. I only really like asking this question because I like my little French accent during that.
Yeah.
Those 4 films, Flesh by Andy Warhol, the Vietnam War documentary The Year of the Pig, the French film L'Insoumis, and East of Eden by Elia Kazan. I've got blank faces all around, but the answer is that those 4 films provided the album covers for the 4 albums by the Smiths.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, wow.
The Smiths' debut album is just a guy's torso. That's from the Andy Warhol film. The album Meat is Murder has a soldier with a hat on where they've written Meat is Murder. I can't remember what it actually said. I think it might have said something like Make Love, Not War. And then the other 2 come from the other 2 films. So yeah, some guy got that, which I was like,
wow.
You have to be a big Smiths fan to get that.
Smiths fan to know that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, challenging as always. It was a nice primer.
We didn't do so good there, guys.
I think you did better than last time.
Okay.
Probably.
We might have actually gotten
you got
one
And Justice for All.
So we did better.
You got.
All right. Buddy Holly.
You got Almost Killed Me.
Pat myself on the back for Buddy Holly.
You got Buddy Holly.
Oh, look, we went 3 for 6.
Yeah,
That's 50.
There you go.
By American school standards, that's almost passing.
Exactly. There's only 3 of you. There's only 3 of you.
Yeah.
I would say if I get 1 the whole time, I'm doing okay because the questions are very difficult.
People always say this, right? But the winning team always gets like 75-80%.
That's all right.
That's
so
pretty
now we
good.
Get to turn the tables, which are excited for. Which it's kind of like 3-on-1 now.
What I've learned doing this quiz is that you all think I know stuff.
You do, because we might ask you questions that you've researched and you just haven't.
I mean, I'll tell you what I know. I know the answers to the questions that I've researched. That's what I know. And so I get people sending me DMs asking me questions. So I'm like, what's going on? I don't know. How am I supposed to?
I know.
Well, that's pretty good because we didn't research these questions at all. So I think you're ahead of us. They might not even be true with the answers. So
I could tell you that we put the call out to the Unified Scene, and people were clamoring to be like, "Yes, ask him this question," because everyone wants to stump.
To the point we had like 19 responses, and we weren't going to put you in school and have a quiz, but we did pick a couple of the ones, and we also had some ourselves.
Right. Okay. So we're going to do.
So number 1, who's the first?
There's something like that.
There is a JFK related.
There's a couple actually. All right, so we submitted the first 3 questions, and then the remaining questions are going to be from the Unified Scene. The first question is the one I submitted. Billy Joel's 1989 release "Stormfront" featured his third hit to reach number 1 on the Billboard's Hot 100. "We Didn't Start the Fire." The song references the death of JFK in the lyrics. What is the lyric that precedes it?
Oh, no idea.
No idea. Okay. It's Pope Paul, Malcolm X, British politician, sex.
That's a good. That song is a good resource. It's a really good.
Right. It's one of those ones that everybody knows, but then when you're like, "What's this line?" and you're like, "Oh, I don't know."
And you gotta sing it, and then like you realize how many words you've boned when you actually give the answer. And they're like, "That's not in the song."
And you did the. I would say that was an underhand thing you did there, Casper. What you did was you mentioned the JFK lyric, which made, and I know that lyric. So that was in my head.
Right.
And then you're asking me to go back.
And then you...
I mean, I would say I would never be that nasty.
Oh no! Give the members of some band in reverse age order.
No, I'm
you would never do something like that. All right, mine is much easier, I think, personally, and I feel like this is going to be a bit of a softball for you. So there's 2 world-renowned bands that feature a drummer with the same first and last name. However, they are not the same person. What is the name of the person, the drummer, and what are the bands? And I'll give you a hint. They're both British.
Sorry, when you say the same first and last, so they have the same...
John Smith. They have the same name. So John Smith is the name of the drummer in 2 bands, but it's not the same person.
That's a really good question.
They're both massively successful bands.
That's a really, really good question.
Can we give another hint? Doesn't one of...
Yeah, we'll give another hint.
Huh?
Go ahead, give a hint.
Doesn't one of the bands repeat the name, right? As a repeated...
Yes. One of the bands, the British bands, the first word in the band is the same.
Oh, it's Roger Taylor.
The second word.
Oh,
there you go.
Nice.
I told you he got it.
That's a really good question.
And the bands?
Sorry, the bands are Queen and Duran Duran. I love that question.
There
Kevin.
you go.
Wow.
All right, good.
Nothing nasty
I
about
thought that
it.
would be a
Nothing
fun
underhand. You know, it's good.
It's just kind of like a cool general knowledge question that most people don't realize.
Kevin, I like that a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so then my question, I kind of stole... We've been speaking about Dallas. I kind of stole this from Dallas a little bit, but what rock star claims that he shook hands... Now, this is what the rock star claims, that he shook hands with JFK on the morning of November 22nd, and then he claims that a police officer, an excited police officer confiscated his car.
So I do know the answer to this.
Okay, we thought you would.
This is Meatloaf, who him and his friends went to Love Field, which is the airport in Dallas where the Kennedys arrived. They were at the fence. They shook hands, and then later on that day, he said the Secret Service commandeered his car and took it somewhere. And he says in his autobiography. There's a whole section on this. Have you read Meatloaf's? Have you read his autobiography?
I have not. No.
So I kind of read it as like research when I was doing the album club. It's so good. It's so much fun.
Oh wow!
But there's a section on. So obviously, when it got to, I mean, it was fun already about the whole name change and the fact his parents used to put a tire around him and then attach it to a rope and tie him to a tree in the garden so that he wouldn't eat all their food. And they came home one day and the tire was just there. And they found Meatloaf at 7-Eleven, like stuff in his face. It was already huge.
Wow.
It was already a fun book. And then he's in like Dallas. I'm like, oh my God, this is great.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So and we have a funny story about that because Dallas, he was like on our 3rd episode of this show ever, and he told us a version of that story. And then, back then it wasn't like the modern technology you're seeing now. We kind of recorded over a Telegram system. So it only took us like an hour or something to edit it. But at the time I edited it, it was like 2 hours later and we released it. I had to put a disclaimer because during that time, Meatloaf had died.
Yeah.
So after I think it was Dallas's story that killed him, actually. But anyways, we had to start the episode out with a disclaimer because Meatloaf had died between the time of recording it and editing it. So yeah.
Wow.
All right. So this will be the first question from the Unified Scene. We polled the scene and then we had everyone vote on the questions that were the favorites. So the first one is from Heather with the Hen on her hands. Janis Joplin once locked herself in a bathroom to protect herself from a famous musician. The encounter later resulted in Janis breaking a bottle over this famous musician's head. Name the musician.
I mean, I have no idea, but I'm gonna guess. It sounds someone. It doesn't sound like a nice person.
That's pretty fair.
Let's go. Let's go Keith Moon.
Ooh, Jim Morrison.
What's the context of the story? Was he trying to?
You know what? I didn't get that from Heather, but I think
it's that part in Light My Fire where he leaves the song for 5 minutes. I think that's when he did it. 'Cause like, he just leaves that song for 5 minutes. You're like, where'd Jim go?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, maybe the next time we ask that question too, we make it a singer instead of a musician, because
that would have been more fair.
Yeah, that would have been made it.
Maybe you might because then if you by the logic of who is not a good person, you might kind of stumble on Jim Morrison. Whereas if you leave it to the whole band,
all right. Well, first time at doing this.
Good question, Heather. Good question.
Look, that's what we
all
do.
right, Kev, you want to read the next one?
So we have another one. We'll do this one. Was also a fun submission by Heather that a lot of people voted up. So in the 1968 psychedelic film flop Head, who was Davy Jones's dance partner?
Oh, I've no idea.
All right, well, see, that was a good question. One. That would be Tony Basil, the American singer and choreographer. Yeah, who later went on to do the classic 80s one-hit wonder.
She was also
she was almost 40. I think she was 40 years old. Yeah.
She was an Easy Rider. There you go. See?
Wow.
There you go. Tony Basil.
All right.
God, Heather's tough, isn't she?
Yeah, she's got a lot of useless knowledge. That's what we know.
You should call this podcast Heather's Revenge.
All right. This one is from Buddy. You know Buddy well.
See, now I have to preface this before you ask this. Last time I saw Buddy was that night in Minneapolis, and he accused me of making him feel stupid. In a very nice Buddy way. He said, "You always make me feel stupid." So now this feels, and you've left this.
So now we're going to call this. This is the revenge.
Oh, 100%. When he sent this over, he said Martin deserves a question that's going to stump him.
You've left it till last. Which feels
actually, we have one more question that we're going to leave till last, so we'll do Buddies now.
Let's hear Buddies.
We'll do Buddies and then one.
So Buddy's question is: we have all seen the Gibson EDS 1275 double neck guitar that Tad plays on Lord I'm Discouraged. According to Tad, who used a particular guitar before he acquired it?
Whoa.
I thought for a fact you would know this because you're so close.
I think this is a very hard question.
I really want to know. So,
good thing is we have the answer. We don't know if it's right, but Buddy told
like I said, it's according to Tad.
According to Tad and Buddy, who shared it. We didn't fact check any of this.
This other person owned the guitar.
Yes.
Apparently, it was loaned to this person by Gibson, but he didn't like it, so he gave it back. That was what we were told. So if that's the context we have,
I'm going to say Noel Gallagher.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay,
that's good. I put you on the Oasis track.
Incorrect, though.
I gave you a clue
because I know that Tad's a big fan. That's all.
According to Tad, Ezra Koenig from Vampire Weekend on the guitar prior to him. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Good question, Buddy.
All right, and
good revenge.
That's going to leave us to our final question from Beth. Kev, you want to
coming from Martin in 2027 is the story of the EDS 1275 book.
the double neck Gibson and other stories.
There you go.
The wood from the tree. How I became a guitar. Last question from Beth.
From Vermont.
Beth from Vermont.
From Vermont.
She's going to get me.
From Vermont. And, well, she kind of stole the way you like to do questions. So her question was, place the members of the Hoodrat Recap in order of age from youngest to oldest.
I will say that I got this question wrong because I didn't know.
And there's only three of us. So, that's the hard part. You think you know where he fell, and he got it wrong.
That is a hard question, Beth, if you're listening, because
you also have the advantage you get to see us right now.
But what Beth is doing, because she's that sort of person, is she's asking me to fall out with you now. Because what she's asking you to do...
Never.
is to decide which one of you looks the youngest and which one of you looks the oldest.
Which is why this is a great question. And look, she could have said
It's a great question, but you haven't heard my answer yet. So you may...
No matter what you say, it's
may think... Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. I think Gasper's youngest, then Mike, then Kevin.
All right.
Nice.
So Kevin is 50. I am 52. And Mike is 56, which I did not know. So the correct is Kevin Gasper.
Well, I got a birthday next. Well, maybe by the time this comes out.
I always have to give a shout out to Beth because she makes me feel special. And this I'm the youngest of this podcast.
Well,
so thank you,
Beth.
Beth.
What I take away from that, Mike, is that you must feel great. Because I've just said that you're, and I'm really sorry, Kevin, but I think there's some kind of, you're on some kind of filter on your screen.
You know what? Yes, I have.
You're just taking the filter off. Okay, can I do that again?
All right. You know what? I realized I had my old man Snapchat filter on.
And there's sometimes where we think he could use more of a filter, actually.
And obviously, you know, it's going to be a huge night in your house, Gasper, because I've just said.
I mean, the reality that I have to live with Gasper now saying Martin said I was the youngest.
Well, wait, you know, wait till he tells Heather. You know,
oh my God,
he's going to have a great day. Mike, you look nowhere near 56.
Yeah, well,
I mean, Kevin,
it's
I
my
actually
birthday.
thought you looked.
Next week, I turn 56.
I actually thought you looked younger than 50, Kevin, but I just thought the other two were in their early 40s.
So I appreciate that, and I shaved special just for this podcast, so I wouldn't look the old man part. Because otherwise, I have a very old-looking beard. Yeah. So I was like, I'm coming in ready. I didn't even know this question was here. Shaved.
Good question, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
All right, I think you did pretty good.
Well,
there were some difficult questions.
There were some. I love the drum question. That's a really good
question.
See, so even if you called me the oldest, I had it.
I think
now the question is, can he steal that one for a future quiz?
Or perhaps wisest.
I mean, he that's it. You say that's it. He could steal the question, but if anybody listened to this podcast, they're going to have an advantage. And most of the people that listen to the podcast might be in his quizzes. But if he's doing a non-hold steady pod, take it.
I think it would be great if he stole the question and then like they had to have listened to the podcast to know the answer. Ooh. Or they had to know Queen and Duran Duran really well.
Queen and Duran Duran.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I didn't want to be nefarious. I just wanted a very straightforward.
I know, because we saw what Gasper did. He threw me with a lyric, and then
I mean, he was like, "Hey, JFK blown away. What's the line? 6 words before it.
That's the only line we can remember.
That's the line.
That was it. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he said it, and I couldn't repeat it back to you because that all I'm thinking about is JFK blown away.
JFK
blown coming out next week.
He said it that way on purpose. Yeah. Funny thing about that song, I remember in grammar school, like they had it written around the chalkboard, and you had to learn it as and they would use that to kind of tell a history story.
There was a thing the other week where there was like a meme on Blue Sky where someone said, "Who can even sing the lyrics to REM's "It's the End of the World and We Know It"?" And then Michael Stipe got involved, and he went, "I can." But yeah, it's another one of those very wordy songs, which
right.
Subterranean Homesick Blues. It's like it's difficult, isn't it?
I'm actually singing "It's the End of the World" as we know it in my head as we go.
In the Twin Cities, we had a radio station that was coming on the air, and they played it for like 48 hours straight, just on a constant loop.
Really?
Why?
I don't know. It was the 90s, man. It was a different time.
All right, man. This was a lot of fun. We want to thank everyone who submitted the questions. Sorry we weren't able to include them all. They were all really, really good, but these were the ones that got voted to the top. So,
but as Martin likes, you can just DM him and ask him personally. Because people are always reaching out to him. So feel free to shoot him a message with the ones that we didn't ask on the show. And
if you come up with if at any point in any quiz I've made you feel like you don't know something. And if you then come up with an obscure piece of knowledge, then that's what my DMs are open for you all.
Awesome.
All right.
And I will send you a selfie back of me looking as pained as some of you look during these quizzes. And if this is a cathartic experience for all of us, and we can all grow as people, then I think it's probably worth doing. And I only have myself to blame. So
that's it. Well, we appreciate you putting us into this mental state. And if the photo, Martin, is you just with your head in your hands like this,
the photo is going to be me looking through a cardboard cutout mermaid in
Wow.
Oh, wow, you know,
got to bring it back full circle.
Yeah, it all comes back full circle.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. This was amazing, and we look forward to seeing you at Massive Nights. And we look forward to the book.
And if anybody does want to reach out to you, where can they find you, Martin?
They can follow me on Instagram at 400 blows. That's the number 4. And the words 100 blows, or just Martin Fitzgerald. And I'm on Blue Sky with the same thing. So it's the number 4, the words 100 blows. It's a film. People always ask, what's that? It's an old film. But thank you guys for having me on again. I always love to see you and to catch up.
It's always great to see you.
And Kevin, I really hope I can meet you this time in New York, because
I will be there. As of now, it looks like my schedule will allow me to be in town. I am not going to be on the road. I'm definitely doing the.
I hear on the grapevine you got a pretty full basement, Gasper.
Yeah.
Yes, I do actually. So this year
I get the fold-out bed. Yeah. So you can't get that, Martin.
Mike, Kat, and Beth will all be staying with me this year.
Yeah, no doubt coming up with questions.
Awesome.
But really good to see you. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you in December.
Awesome.
All right.
What a strings attached to every single lover. Yeah, the strings attached to every single lover.
All right, that was a great time with Martin. I'm still on a bit of a high because my question was his favorite. I also got one right, so I don't feel like a total dope. And I asked a great question back to the Quizmaster, so I'm having a good day. And I hope everybody else is having a good day. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We do this because you guys listen. As we said, we've seen the numbers grow up. They've gone up drastically since the Dave Gottlieb episode, and people are still checking that one out. If you haven't checked that one out, you should go back and listen to it. It's probably one of our favorite episodes we've ever done, and we appreciate you guys checking us out. If you like what we do, give us a follow, leave us a comment, shoot Mike a speak pipe. It makes him very happy when it does. You know, honestly, we couldn't do this if you didn't listen, because if you didn't listen, we'd be talking to ourselves, and we could just do that on the phone. So if you like what you hear, give us a like, give us a follow, tell a friend. Gasper, why don't you tell them where they can find us?
Sure. So the best jumping off point for anything Hoodrat Recap is our link tree, which is linktr.ee/the Hoodrat Recap. Or you could just go to our website, which is thehoodrarecap.com. And on both of those locations, you can find a place to leave us a message. And Mike, why don't you tell us about what that's about?
Speak pipe, speak pipe, speak pipe.
As Kevin is so enthusiastic about, it's Speak Pipe. It's basically a voicemail. Just click on the link, speak on your phone, tell us what we got wrong, tell us why you should be a guest on your show, or just anything. Stump us with a question, and we'd love that. And then I just like to think, everybody listened to the show for so long today. It's been a long show. You must really love hearing our voices. If you want to hear us more, Gasper came over to the 70s versus the 80s podcast, and we did right after, I think it was an hour after Ozzy Osbourne died, we did an Ozzy Osbourne tribute. So I know Kevin couldn't make it. Kevin, you got to listen to it. I think you might even hear our voices crack a little bit, because it was literally right an hour after he died we were talking about him. And Gasper also, he was on there earlier this summer. He was on there talking about Jethro Tull and Taco Bell memories, our favorite Taco Bell memories. And Gasper knows just as much about Jethro Tull as he does the Hold Steady. Can you believe it?
I've been in a car with Gasper after he eats Taco Bell, and it's still a memory I've never forgotten.
Yeah, it's those memories.
All right, well, I'm Gasper. That's Kevin. That's Mike. And that was Martin Fitzgerald, Quizmaster for the Hold Steady. And us guys and all you guys and gals, we are all the Hoodrat Recap.
Yo, Mark
Run for the border. I mean, I've heard these sounds before, but this is not that exciting.
It's because I took my phone off of airplane mode, and it's...
This is the scene report.
Slide your little phone into the
it's cooler than that.
I don't. You know what? Maybe like because I could sing "This is the scene report" to like "This is Radio Clash." If you can ever get this sound going. This is the scene report.
All right, here we go. Ready? Here's our new scene report sounder.